name's Dan Mack. I'm the music teacher over at Dever Elementary School in Dorchester.
And we decided to explore new teacher effectiveness, retention, and sustainability. And as you can see in the cartoon, I think in our first year, many of us have felt this, like you're jumping into shark-infested waters. And this really means a lot to us because in our experience, we've seen too many teachers drowning who come in wanting to make a difference, who come in wanting to change the world, and end up quitting because of how difficult it is.
Not only that, but I think the challenge too is that what they see is to see the rest of us. We're floating around like, hey, it's easy, and they're like, yeah, what do you mean? So that's what we're trying to turn the tide here.
Exactly. So what if we could change that? To that end, we wanted to explore the challenges that new teachers face, what Boston is currently doing, what the research says is the best way of helping new teachers, and what we can do to support our young talent. So to start with the challenges, young teachers typically quit in high-stress school environments within the first 5 years of teaching. Although young teachers recognize their inexperience, they're paired with students that maybe are more behaviorally difficult and are often the lowest skilled. This is a problem because $2.2 billion a year is spent on hiring and training brand new teachers. And in Boston alone, 50% of teachers that start in BPS leave before that 5-year mark.
And that's usually where the openings are too, where you've got the students who are lower performing or they're behaviorally more challenging. So that's where the openings are. That's where these folks are finding themselves being placed.
Exactly. So what's Boston doing? Well, as a leader in education, Boston has invested billions in funding for programs to support new teacher development. This primary induction program for BPS is called the New Teacher Developer Program, or NTD, and this is what we wanted to think about. Is the NTD program implementing effective induction, that just means mentoring, and support? Have new teacher retention rates increased or have they decreased? And have new teachers found these supports to be useful and effective, who they're meant for? Before we jump into the data, I just wanted to give a quick timeline. So for the New Teacher Developer Program, here's what it's looked like. It was completely overhauled in 2006 and 2007 so that in collaboration with the BTU, there were 14 full-time mentors that could coach, go out to different schools and coach brand new teachers. Due to a variety of factors, including a lack of funding, in 2014 the program changed so that instead of having 14 full-time people, instead it switched to 227 part-time new teacher developers. I say part-time because these are wonderful teachers like Dan who not only have a course load themselves and children to teach, but they are also responsible for helping brand new teachers. This is important to us because this fall the program is going to change again. So we thought, wouldn't this be a great idea if we have some data and we have some recommendations for how the program could be even better. Okay, so I'll be quick about this. In current research, here's the best form of induction. Here's what we know. Teachers with a mentor are likely to stay after their first year, more likely, and teachers that are given supports in a comprehensive program are half as likely to leave after their first year of teaching when compared to teachers who only receive basic induction like a mentor. Here's what comprehensive means. It is a long list. Having a mentor, supportive communication from a principal or other administrator, common planning or collaboration time with teachers that teach the same thing, a reduced course load, help from a teacher's aide, participation in an external network of teachers, increased built-in time in the school day to collaborate with mentors and teachers in content areas, and continued mentoring to support into second and third years.
Seems like a long list, but it's feasible.
And it goes
it's
on.
Very feasible. Yeah,
It goes on.
What?
So research suggests that teachers that are taught how to have a growth mindset and that are exposed and assimilated into a culture of feedback are more likely to be honest in self-evaluations of efficacy and improve in their instruction more quickly. These induction programs should also include more observations of experienced teachers because this is one of the best ways for teachers to become better more quickly. Dan's about to talk about some data. What I would say is that right now, not to put down the New Teacher Developer Program, it's successful in a lot of ways. They support new teachers with mentors. These mentors attend a lot of professional development sessions to learn how to coach new teachers, and the program also has an online program through its second and third year of teaching so that teachers have that additional help.
So diving into the data. Fall of 2006, 85.4% of teachers who were new to BPS returned for a second year, marked an increase from the one-year retention rate of 71.8 in 2003. Yes.
This is when the program was overhauled.
Over the same period, one-year retention rates for new teachers of color increased from 73.6 to 83. Yes. And in the following year, only 73% of new teachers who were new to BPS returned for a second year. Now, we started looking at the data, we started talking about this stuff, and we said, well, okay, so the following year, only 73% of new teachers who were new returned, but they were new to BPS. So it gets a little gray. Were they new to teaching? Were they just new to BPS? I came into BPS very experienced. I've been teaching for a very long time. But I'm considered to be a new teacher in the system. So sometimes you have to dive a little bit deeper into the data. And just to echo what Paul said at the outset of all this is something that Anna and I found completely. This is ongoing. As we're going through this data and we're going through all these things, we're realizing we have actually a lot more questions than what we started with, which is good. But here's a little bit more of this, a little bit more specific with my folks over at the NTD. School year 15-16, we had 189 novice teachers, and so 166 were retained. That's great, 88%. That's great. We want to hold on to the best teachers, and we want to hold on to these folks in BPS because we are the best. Philosophy recommendations, moving on, moving towards the end here. Mentors should be seen as coaches, and a new teacher should recognize that they often lack a skill set that is complex and cognitively demanding, but that can be learned with practice. We talked about this a few slides earlier. You want to get them into that open mind. I think one of the things that teachers lack most when they come into the classroom for that first year is their confidence. They lack confidence in front of their students, they lack confidence with their colleagues, and if they just realize that we all went through that, I try to share that empathy. The first time I went to the classroom, it was just like the same thing with the first character there with the cartoon slide. I was petrified. I didn't know what I was, it's your first year. Everybody has to go through that. That's how you get your feet on the ground. Teachers who were taught the growth mindset philosophy as well as immersed in a culture of feedback are more likely to be honest about their progress as new teachers and more likely to improve more quickly. One of the things that we shared a lot over at the NTD as far as all the mentors was that shared empathy between yourself and your mentee. You realize they have challenges. Look at some of the challenges I'm facing in my room with this work in your room, so that they realize that you're always working on things in your classroom, always trying to improve yourself. Feedback recommendations: shorter, more frequent meetings with video and collected data. That's a tough one to get people to videotape themselves, especially in a classroom. I know it is for me. To watch myself, I go, because you see the mistakes you're making. But that's great, because you see that, and then you can grow from it. And then hopefully they can too. Typically what I try to do with my mentee this year was I videotape myself first. And I showed her my classroom, what was going on in there, and then she was more open to just videotaping herself, and we would laugh about it. Bite-sized feedback is given on management, continually practice. That is something we try to do a lot at the Dever. One thing. Let's work on one thing. Don't overload your plate. You want to get a new tool to a new teacher, you want to get a new skill, work on one. Just one. Try to get it into your flow. See how it goes. Practice is still tailored to BPS's evaluation rubric. This is a huge concern with new teachers. They're going to be evaluated. Someone's going to come in with a clipboard. That's intimidating to teachers who've been teaching for 30 years. We have someone in my building who is infinitely more experienced than I am. She is petrified when people come into a room with the clipboards. Understandably, it throws you off. So as long as you can keep that, everything that's going on here, you can keep it to the evaluation rubric, it's going to give them more confidence as they go through. This is a big one. Emotional support is given, but primary responsibility is coaching to a teacher's skill set. Well, these new teachers realize that they're managing emotions all day long. Their students, their parents, other teachers, you're managing people's emotions, so you should keep yourself in mind. That is something I try to cover with them, but it's more of a skill set approach. Data collection recommendations. Mentees should be given weekly, monthly, yearly feedback on experience as well as how much they feel they're being helped. It's something we try to do a lot with the NTD, getting feedback from your mentee. How can I help you more? How can I support you throughout the day? What can I do for you on Monday? Data should be collected between full-time teacher development mentees and part-time development mentees on overall effectiveness and satisfaction. It should also be collected on retention, effectiveness, and overall well-being for new teachers who experience the part-time model and experiment with online versus real-time coaching in the second and third year. That is definitely something to self-pace to, just the online thing. It's something that they can just kind of approach on their own and something that they can take on.
In other words, as the program changes in the fall,